So Chatsworth Farm, how did you come up with the name?
We are located in the old Chatsworth School District, and we could see the farm from our old house from the kitchen window, and now we can see it from the new house. We're a little bit closer. We just thought it was a good way to be part of the community.
In the community.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And so we've been chatting and we've had a wonderful day. The Ag for Life team is here visiting your farm and learning about the farm and your family. You established the farm in 1993. Mm-hmm. You've been working hard. The entire family is involved. The kids aren't so little anymore.
Nope.
They're in their 20s and growing up. But they're all part of the family. They're a part of the family, but they're all part of, you haven't kicked any of them out, but they're all part of the farm,
yes.
Working together, which I think is remarkable, that everybody has taken over and you've seen through, their years of sort of where their passion lies. You've got, the livestock side, you got the sheep, you got the chickens, and everybody's kind of fallen in love with a little bit of a different component.
It's working together, but also working in our own particular areas, which is good. And we come together for the big things, but then the smaller things, everyone has their little areas of expertise and their passions, and
I think and
it works.
Yeah, it's a kind of that, play on the food there. It's kind of an ingredients for working with your family, right?
And at the end you have a banquet.
Yeah, absolutely. So the work that you guys are doing, and it's remarkable as we're traveling to farms throughout the summer, and we have the pleasure of meeting farm families. And your farm is very unique, and right from the start, you've thought about the consumer, and you've really thought about the end product and your love of producing really good, great quality product. And we've talked a little bit as well about affordable, really high quality products, which is important. And I think that Albertans, really need to understand that there are hardworking families such as yourself that are doing a phenomenal job. And I know as we've been touring your farm, I'm getting very hungry. Your garden, is the envy. It's absolutely beautiful. And so where do you see when you talk about consumers and you see a shift in wanting to know where food comes from? Do you see that, looking forward the next 5-10 years, do you see more interest in that area? Do you think people are going to really connect to the food and back to the roots?
I think so. I think there's a definite shift, and I hope it grows. I hope it continues. I hope it grows more. But I think the pandemic especially, I think, has made people reconsider a lot of things, how they spend their money, how they spend their time. I think a lot of people have started cooking now. I know, like everyone else, I was watching as everybody else was making sourdough.
Yes.
And a lot of people starting gardens. And I remember saying to myself last summer, I hope a lot of that continues. I hope it wasn't just a temporary thing. But I think too, as people, and especially in Alberta, I think, people are starting to find more local products available, and I think people like that. I think it's a lot of it is better when it's local. A lot of it's more affordable when it's local, and I think just the variety of what different growers and producers and artisans are making now, which you can find in Alberta now compared to 10 years ago, and certainly 25, 30 years ago when I first got here. It's just remarkable. There's really no excuse not to eat well.
Mm-hmm.
But we have never been happy with the commercially available meat birds, whether it's turkeys or broilers. Yeah. So we're looking for alternatives, and for turkeys, Charlotte got the idea. Charlotte thought, well, let's raise our own and see what happens. So, so far so good. So fingers crossed.
Well, and I do love that too, that over the last number of years, we've certainly seen a lot more of the local connection to the food. And, we talk about culture, the culture of agriculture. I got my friend and there's something special about knowing that it's, you know, it's grown here and it's made here in Alberta, as part of agriculture and food, as I get attacked. How did you decide, was it consumer demand, or was it kind of your interest in where food, in what you want it to produce, that's driving what you're growing here?
That's pretty much what we were interested in and what we wanted to eat. And we thought if it's good and tasty, other people would be interested. We've always been interested in good food and cooking it and eating it and sharing it, and we sort of went from there. That's how we ended up with sheep, because we all like lamb. And with the cattle, it's always been, with our beef cattle, it's always been working to make the best tasting beef we can produce. With the grain, we moved, we got the red fife wheat when we first tasted it, because it was just such a remarkable flavor. And we wanted to be able to share it with people. So yeah, I think we probably, we can be some of our own best customers. So
Yeah, well, exactly. And you're the taste testers. If you like it, then someone else is going to like it. Absolutely. And then there's the love that goes to producing it.
Yeah.
So, and so what are the products? What do you have? What are we raising here on the farm?
We're raising beef, we're raising lamb, we have chickens for meat and for eggs. We have ducks and geese for eggs. The meat part is a little bit harder because the poultry processors who handle ducks and geese, there are far fewer of them. They're very difficult to find. We did touch base with one restaurant owner maybe a couple of weeks ago, who is interested in geese, and so we're trying to work that out and see how that would go. We've got our red fife flour and also wheat berries, and I think that's it. Did I?
Yeah, I think so.
Meat and eggs and flour, and then we even stretched out a bit last fall. Charlotte came up with some ideas for people who were just looking for something simple. Actually, I think it was before last fall. She made, I think, was there a Mother's Day box and a Father's Day box? So with the beef sausages and a bag of flour for pancakes, and some eggs. And then I think at some point in the year, she said, oh, if you wanted to make some extra preserves or jams. And I think in the fall, I made some cranberry orange marmalade and something else at Christmas time. So we've been doing a little bit of that, but the focus for us is really on what we grow and raise on the farm. They had an old millstone, what the Ukrainians called a zhorna, set up, and we tried that, and everybody got to take home a little Dixie cup of the flour they had milled, and with the two of us and the kids, that was 5 little Dixie cups, and it made about a cup of flour. And the next morning was a Sunday, and we made pancakes, and it just tasted wonderful. So the
idea was brought to life.
Yes.
I have a zhorna set up, so I have to show you.
I was going to ask. So do you mill it?
Yes, but we not by hand.
Okay.
For sale.
In your spare time.
Actually, well.
And now, again, I'm getting hungry as you're talking about it. I love the kits. I love sort of the baskets. That's a great idea. And where do Albertans find your product?
Well, you can find us online, and that's a good starting point. And if you're local, we do local free deliveries, or you can come to the farm from anywhere. And we go to Edmonton once a month and Calgary every other month for deliveries. And we do parking lot pickups. We do 2 in each city. We'll usually do 1, I think, north side and south side. And Charlotte makes all the arrangements, and we bring everything to you. And even last year at Christmas, we were hoping to have a little Christmas market in December until the new restrictions came down. And Charlotte quickly talked to the different artisans we had been working with. There's a local woman who makes scrunchies and face masks and all sorts of things, and another woman nearby who makes beautiful wreaths, and in the summer she has a flower farm. So we loaded up the truck with our own products and the scrunchies and the face masks and the Christmas wreaths and I think, and some pottery. There's some homemade pottery, and loaded the truck up, and we were able to deliver everything, even though we couldn't have the market here at the farm.
Fantastic. I love it. And one thing I find about, well, again, meeting the families and farming in general is the entrepreneurial mindset behind farming. I mean, you have to stay on top of things and be creative and think, okay, Mother Nature's thrown us a curve, or boy, there's a pandemic, or there's always something's always changing, or the fence is down, or the cattle got out, or, I mean, that's the life of, of a farmer. And being able to adapt is I guess built into a farmer's DNA, because it's remarkable, all of the variables that are thrown out.
Well, everyone started using the word pivot last year with the pandemic, but farming is pretty much one big pivot. And when you talk about next year country, that's the biggest pivot of all, and you hope for better weather or better crop.
Well, you're right, because this year we've got the drought. And another year we've had too much rainfall, and you're always working with those variables. And I think it's remarkable, and I think it's important that as Albertans, as consumers, when we whether we have the privilege of meeting with our farmer or buying the product, we know the passion and the labor of love and work that's gone behind it. And we can be really proud, and we always, thank you and your family because you're feeding us, and it's delicious, and we appreciate and know what you've put into it. So we thank you for that.
Well, you're welcome, and we thank you for the opportunity. I think one of the best things to come out of the pandemic for our family is our daughter Charlotte using her video tours and social media just to share more behind the scenes about how things go on a farm and what it's like when all of a sudden it stops raining and you have to find water for the cattle on pasture, and what do you do with the crops when they're not getting the moisture and you don't get the green feed crop that you thought you were going to get. So I think being able to explain the farming situation and share things, I think it makes it easier for customers and people who use our products, cook with what we raise and grow, to understand what's going on and why we might not have something, or why something might cost a little bit more, and then on the other hand, why something might all of a sudden be more abundant in a year when you do have more rain and more availability.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think the headline the other day was talking about how food prices are probably on the rise. Obviously, we've had the drought, and so to make that connection and to understand how that works, it's important. It's important, whether we wherever we buy our groceries, whether it happens to be direct from the farmer, or if you're going to the grocery store, you're going to notice that the price tag changes, and there's reasons for it.
Well, and it's hard to understand though sometimes at the grocery store, because the prices just seem to go up. They don't go down, and a lot of times they'll go up at the grocery store, but the prices will go down for the farmers.
Yes.
So
yes.
I think it's when you tend to buy most of your food at the grocery store, you don't have that understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying to share a little bit more of that.
Yeah, and your main channels, I believe, are Instagram,
Facebook. I do Twitter, but there's not that much on Twitter. But Instagram and Facebook.
Yeah, and we
have the website.
Yes, and it's all very good. I think encourage anyone to follow you. It's really good information. Charlotte does a wonderful job.
She does an amazing job.
She does. Yeah. So it's a great place if someone's looking to learn more. Just follow along.
Yeah.
And
she's good. If you have any questions, there's always the chance if Charlotte doesn't address it, just reach out and ask, and we're happy to share.
Yeah, that's remarkable. Thank you.